decision for the Irish people. But personally, I have no reservations whatever about our entry into the EEC.
When you jump on your feet, so get down, get down, get down. Keep your
Without the Taoiseach of the day, Jack Lynch, being able to say that you have unlimited markets at guaranteed prices, people would have been much more nervous of joining this very powerful club. But that was a wonderful assurance to be able to give. Unlimited markets at guaranteed prices.
Through amalgamation, 6 big dairy cooperatives emerged: Avonmore, Ballyclaw, Goldenvale, Kerry, Mitchelstown and Waterford. The support on offer in the European community was to change the dairy industry forever.
The real independence of the dairy industry through the Dairy Board came in the 70s. It had to take what it got, including income from the EC.
By joining, we became aligned to the European price over a 5-year period. This was a dramatic price increase for the farmer. It had a stimulus that in each of the 5 years, I think we increased milk production by at least 10% in every year and nearly 20% in one of those years, and provided a base under the industry that we could never have done on our own.
Across the sea, a holiday for the family, so we flew the Irish way to fly, and they served us Kerry Gold.
Because diversification of products, if you like, didn't take place as rapidly as the milk production increases, it led to vast increases in the amount of butter produced.
Had a fine time across the seas, and
we were kind of fascinated with the whole thing, and we went along with it, you know, and our incomes improved.
Kerry Gold tastes best at home.
You could see the improvement, more particularly in the housing, the ordinary domestic housing that dairy farmers and all farmers lived in. Simple things, but very important things in the domestic household, like the provision of water, became a real possibility. In fact, the European community provided substantial sums of money to assist in that.
We bought a second farm in 1974, and we had to borrow an awful lot of money to buy it, you know, so that would mean that the EC was good in the initial years.
The impact of the Common Agricultural Policy in Ireland was unique. The volume of milk we produced for export far exceeded that of any other member state.
Immediately, we became impacted by the benefits of selling to intervention. Guaranteed market, no debtors risk, no product development work required, no market development work required, no storage required. You sold to intervention and it was over. Diversifying and building, say, a cheddar cheese plant where you had to make the cheese in about 8 months and sell it over a 12-month period because of our seasonality. All of that was seen as something you could avoid.
Here they come. These are the Kerry Gold workers.
During the 70s, the Irish Dairy Board acquired distribution companies abroad to further consolidate the strength of Kerry Gold. There were new markets opened in Europe, the Middle East and Gulf regions.
2 extravagant pints of Irish cream in every pound. No wonder they say.
The range of dairy products sold under the Kerry Gold brand name expanded rapidly. Germany was to become one of the most successful markets ever for Irish butter.
Kerry Gold butter from Ireland, unspoilt and natural, and now in Germany.
It was a big, big thing when we got into the German market. The quantity wasn't big, but the point was it was another market. We were only in 4 or 5 at the outset. When I retired from Bord Baile in 1978, we were in 83 countries throughout the world.
By the early 80s, Irish milk production was surpassing all records. Under the CAP, unlimited guarantees to farmers led to huge surpluses. This system of supports was changed in 1984.
Farmers were told to specialise, concentrate on dairying. And farmers did, and they invested an awful lot of money. And unfortunately, they had to borrow an awful lot of money. And the quota system was introduced. Production was limited then to whatever your quota was on a said year, and regardless of what your borrowings were, you had to stick with that.
Literally the morning after that ministerial meeting on the 31st of March 1984, we had a super levy. We had a quota limiting our output, which was the 1983 production plus 4.5%.
It had the effect, I suppose, of saying to everybody, thus far and no further, and now let's try and find a better way of making this milk into diversified products. So since that time, the percentage of milk going into diversified products such as cheese and so on has increased dramatically.
That triggered a whole range of reactions where you saw the merger, you saw companies coming together, you saw the development of the PLCs, you saw the internationalization of the dairy companies.
It was really in the 80s that the brand business was built, and the real increases have taken place in the 90s.
Today, the Irish Dairy Board is a major international food and distribution company owned by Irish dairy farmers.
We have a turnover of about $2 billion. In America, we have 3 different parts to our business. We have a distribution business, which has a turnover of about $500 million, and that employs about 1,200 people. We're the single biggest distributor of fresh food in Los Angeles. So we're selling a fair bit of Irish cheese through those distribution companies. We take cheese from Ireland, natural cheese, and we take casein and we make it into processed or imitation cheese. And then we have a third business, which is trading, which takes product from Ireland, like casein. We take all the product we can from Ireland. Belgium, then, again, we have a distribution business which sells German, Belgian, Irish product. We are now probably the single biggest packer of cheese. We've just built a new cheese hall there. Then in the UK, we're one of the 3 big packers of cheese, Adams is. Germany then has grown at the rate of 10% per annum for the last 5 years. We pack the butter through arrangements with local cooperatives and we distribute it there.
If you look at the sheer cash flow impact of the European supports of the whole development of the dairy industry, the cash flow impact back to the farmer through the dairy industry has been huge. It's allowed us to develop the industry in a way that has been good at company level, has opened up new markets, has got us into an international presence, has produced the biggest companies in Ireland, and yet still has provided a strong return to the farmer. And that's been a very powerful mix.
The Kerrygold success, there was no luck involved in it at all. It was hard work.
I find myself being carried away by this at 75.